It's George Tyndall, and I'm back again. I'm here to discuss a few things and shed more light on the situation. And you might want to hang around to the end of the video because I found an interesting picture and interesting testimony. Okay, now, and I can confirm this stuff because of the research that I've been doing. So I'm going to put my findings out there. Now, meteors are not grains of sand or pea-sized. Meteors can be any size. Why do I say this? Okay, the majority of the meteorites found on Earth are small rock to fist size. There is no way that a grain of sand or a pea lands on the ground and grows this big. And it's just something that should be obvious. A pea or a grain of sand in the atmosphere, how is it supposed to burn as long as it does and shine as bright of a light? A little grain of sand. And I'm really surprised that people keep listening to this stuff and actually believe this. Okay. Now, because of what I have found, meteors burn, but not by ram air pressure. They are heated by two things. One is the dense air. Number two, it's the charged particles that are filtered out in the mesosphere, that are made or whatever. It's the collision. Your rock comes in and it collides with the charged particles, causing friction, and the dense air. It's a combination of both. Two things, not one. And experts out there, scientists, would get this if they would look this stuff up. What does it do when a target object collides with charged particles? Very simple. Now, all metals did not sink to the middle of the earth to form the core. This is what we've been told time and time again, I learned this, and that's what I believed. I no longer believe that. I believe that the core was created from an asteroid with a solid molten metal center and the layer of materials surrounding the molten metal has a higher melting point. That's what allows the metal to be encased and stay in hot liquid. And that's why it doesn't eat out of it and burn up the earth, because it can't reach the melting point that surrounds it. Okay, planets. The four inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, have a lot of metal or almost metal rocks or solid metal rocks. This can be verified by looking up how would a large amount of metal or solid metal rocks, what would it do to the planet's temperature, atmosphere, weather patterns, and magnetic field. And when you start looking this stuff up and putting it together, then you'll understand why Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, or Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Earth, are different. And you'll understand things better. But, somebody's got to look the stuff up. No, people don't want to look it up. They don't want to believe it. I'm telling my findings. Now, people on here can say what they want. They can criticize me. I don't care. If everybody else is allowed to put their findings out there, I'm allowed to put my findings out there. Now, it's so obvious that Mars has solid metal rocks by the atmosphere and the surface covered in red oxide. To get that much red oxide covering the planet, you have to have a lot of metal on top. And it's just common sense. Now, scientists, they do not know 100% sure the planets referred to ice and gas giants is correct. They don't know 100% sure. If you don't know 100% sure, it's called the teachings of not sure. When you teach, if you're not sure about something, and it's what you think or it's what you believe, those teachings can have an error or they can be wrong. And it shows that they can have an error or be wrong when scientists are continually getting stuck and having to continually change their findings. If it was 100%, they wouldn't get stuck and they wouldn't have to change their findings. And that is fact. If a report on findings that happened billions of years ago that could have taken place in 100 years to create, if the report is concluded and published within 1 year, is it going to be correct? Is the rush to publishing these reports for the almighty dollar, does that mean that they're correct because they rushed and they got paid? And this is the point I've been trying to get across to people. The best scientist is one who checks, rechecks, and doesn't believe 100% that just because something points in that direction, that the findings are 100% correct without that person saying so and verifying it 100%. And that is fact. The only way you're not going to get stuck and you're not going to make an error is if you know 100%. And you can look any of this stuff up that the scientists have done and they've been teaching. There's all these words. I don't know. Possible. Theory predicts. That's not 100%. So you're learning not sure. And there's going to be some people out there that won't like this that I'm posting, and I don't care. It's fact. If somebody tells you that there's something hidden behind this and they don't show you, you don't know just because they said. And that's just an example. Just because somebody says something doesn't mean that they know it. And, the majority of the evidence. 75% of the evidence or 80% of the evidence points that way. Okay, 75% of the evidence points that way, but there's still 25% that's not sure. Okay, so then why do we form a theory or something on a half a percentage could be and a half a percentage isn't? It's stupid and it makes no sense. But no, there's people out there who want to continue to believe that science and they can believe it. They're not going to learn anything. Now, the biggest piece of information. And my next video, I wanted to hold off on the space shuttles because I've got ideas there. But first things first, we're going to go to this. This is testimony, and this is a picture that wasn't included in Dennison Olmsted's report. It was all about, oh, hey, I got a good paycheck and making the money and not letting people know what really happened. Now, I found this online. It comes from the Oshawa Museum. A person can look it up online. There's testimony from Thomas and Daniel Conant. They witnessed the meteor shower on the evening of November 12, 1833. He described seeing globes of fire as big as goose eggs falling all around his boat. If they're falling all around your boat and you're out on the water, they are hitting the water. And this is what I've been trying to tell people. Those meteors from the 1833 shower, they impacted the ground in certain areas. But the areas that were impacted, there was no testimony from. Furthermore, what confirms this is the pictures that people have documented, the ones that they drew. Now this is a picture of the meteor shower from 1833 that is at the Oshawa Museum. Okay, we're going to go to this picture. Now, this is the picture that was at the Oshawa Museum. All these little shiny things in the sky, they are meteors, okay? But if you notice when you come down here, there's one there, one there, one there, couple there, a couple there, and how low they are, they're almost right on top of the house. And if you go down here and you look, there's 3 or 4 of them on the ground, 5, 6, 7 on the ground. Now, I am telling people this. Those things, the meteors, whatever you want to call them, they hit the ground. And because of money, none of this stuff, no pictures, no documentations from the outer area that exposed the downpour was reported in Dennison Olmsted's report, which makes it an incomplete report. And it just really pisses me off in a sense that nobody's ever gone and done what I have and gone back and looked and changed things. And I'm sure that there's a lot more testimony that's out there, probably even from the Native Americans, that documented them hitting the ground. If these other people saw them hit the ground, just like Captain Walker did in California, dashed to pieces on the ground, falling around the boat. If you experts out there can't understand what people are saying, you need to go back to school. And if what I'm finding is correct, it changes a lot of everything. And people out there probably making big money, they don't want people to know this. They don't want you to know, because it's about making money. As long as you're making money, if it's wrong or if it's right, as long as they make money, it doesn't matter. It can be completely wrong. And if a person's making $1 billion, they'll rather make the $1 billion than be right. And I'm just going to call it good at that. But I'm going to keep on because I know I'm right and I know that they are wrong.